Lindsay Sexual here again, day 78. I think we're going to do a bit of chatting today. I've come on a bit late. So in France and Europe, it's about 10:30 at night. In the UK, it's about 9:30. Over here, though, it's in the morning in Australia and New Zealand. Let me just go live on Instagram because I can do that now because I come at the screen. There we go. We're all live. Brilliant. Right. We are now in Sydney. And just like that, we appeared in Sydney. We're in a lovely little Airbnb, and we're just down the road from a little place that we saw last time, which is full of fruit bats. They are everywhere. They're hanging in the trees. There's so many of them. It is an incredible sight to see. And then in the evening, just before it starts to get dark, they all fly over all the buildings and head off to wherever it is they're going. They're huge, huge. And there are hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of them. I can tell you on this trip, if you are a nature lover and you love animals and insects, this is a place to be. It's incredible. Okay, now, I'm sorry I didn't come on yesterday, because we had to get out of our apartment, and just before that, I was on 3 hours. I was on teaching our students. So I was up 6 a.m. doing a lesson. Then we were a bit late going on to the second lesson from about 7:20 onwards, and we went on till just after 9. So these are lessons where I'm teaching students. Gary's on with me, and so I didn't have time to then jump on a live, and I thought about recording it, but I didn't have I just didn't get around to it. So it has happened. We've dropped 3 or 4 days on our quest for 365 days, but I think we're still doing okay. It's only been a very few days, and we're going to catch up until I've done 365. Right. So today I want to talk to you about trying to just quickly fix problems that have been created in the hoof, that have been created by hoof care. And then everybody loses their head and goes, oh, no, now we can quickly fix it. Usually what happens, and that's happening to millions of horses on the planet, is such shocking poor hoof care. Either too much is being taken off in one place, usually the toe, too much is being left in another, usually the heels, the bars, compacting soles. And we see it all the time on the cadaver feet that we get. I mean, it is just a recurring theme. And then we see shoe packages put on from every kind of package you can think of, where we're now trying desperately in the short term to fix something that has been going on in the long term, and not fixing it according to the horse's natural constants, the horse's natural parameters. So unfortunately, what tends to happen is it just starts making it worse, because we just start chasing pathology, and we're trying to look amazing. The people that are doing this, by fixing it really quickly. But these have been things that have been going on for a long time, because horses are suffering from really shoddy crap hoof care all the time. Now, it might look nice to you and to other people, and you put the horse's foot down, they go, oh, doesn't that look smart? But it's not followed the horse's natural parameters one tiny little bit. So in this live, we're going to talk about that, why quick fixes don't work in hoof care, and the danger of chasing short-term solutions. I mean, you'll have heard it all. Just stick a shoe on it. I am at this moment in time talking to a lovely lady in the UK who's had such rubbish hoof care from a barefoot trimmer. It's I mean, my eyes pop out on stalks when I see these things. So against the God, I don't even know how they were balancing. The heels weren't addressed. In fact, this time the toe wasn't really addressed. They thought they were just giving it a little bit of a polish and thinking they were doing something, and they were doing nothing. and except causing more pathology, causing abscesses. The bars weren't addressed, so lots and lots of abscesses this poor horse has been having. And now infection in the toe, hoof cracks. The toe is beginning to have the whole area around the toe and the sole is beginning to have issues. And the vet comes along and the x-ray and they go, oh, here's the next one. You heard this one, pop a cast on, or pop a plate on, or a rocker shoe, or in this instance, shoes all round with casts. No. Just recognize that the hoof care leading up to this, horses don't just get abscesses. Horses don't just get toe cracks and seedy toe, white line disease just because they've got weak feet. No. That's because of the poor hoof care that has been going on. You know, you might even be told, oh, there's a new shoeing package and that's going to support the frog and it'll elevate the heel to relieve the DDFT. It's the latest thing. I mean, all it's needed in the equine world is if horses were just trimmed to their own natural parameters. We're not making it up. This is not a method. If they were just trimmed to their own natural parameters and people just believed in 55 million years of evolution instead of their own rhetoric and narrative and their own appalling ideas, I can guarantee to you the majority of problems would melt away. It sounds like a magic. It sounds like magic, but it isn't. And I'll tell you what isn't magic. These short-term quick fixes that are trying to fix chronic hoof care that's been going on for a long time. And that's kind of how they're sold, by these magic shoe packaging solutions. But in reality, they're not addressing the real problem. And the fact that whenever we're doing that, we need to go, well, who on earth has been trimming this horse and who on earth has been shoeing this horse? This is appalling. Who taught them? Where did they get this education from? Have they just been making it up now because they've been out in the field for a while trimming and shoeing and, well, they just changed it how they feel? Maybe one thing happened with a horse and that changed the trajectory of their trimming from then on. People are just making things worse. We're just going round and round and round and round. If horses can't cope without shoes on, look at the trimming. What's been going on? And the diet and the management, of course, they are important. Very, very important, because we want gut health. But I tell you, you can get the diet and management right and have shocking hoof care, and the horse will never be right. And they'll just continue coping for a long time. So let me know in the comments. Have you ever been pressured into trying to have a quick fix for your horse's feet? Everything's been going wrong, and then somebody comes along, maybe it's a vet, maybe it's their farrier, maybe it's another person, and they go, oh, all you needed to do was this. You just need to put this shoeing package on and we'll get it all fixed, like that. Let's unpack really what's going on here. Right, I have managed to go live on Instagram. So Chris Rowe Sales is here. I hope I got that right. Marianne's here, and Sarah FKH is here. Hello. Right, now let's have a look at everybody that's coming in on YouTube and Facebook. Right, who have we got? We've got M Walker. Morning all. Morning. We love pet, top of the shop. M Walker. We love pets. Hi, missed you. I'm back again. Hopefully now I can continue. I don't know what's going to happen on Thursday and Friday, because I'll be flying back to the UK. No, sorry, not the UK. What am I talking about? I'll be flying back to France, back to Paris. So I have no idea. Maybe it'll be me doing it in airport lounges again, or airport concourses. That's what we'll be doing again. Jeanette's here. Hi. Jill's here. Camilla's here. Georgie's here. Lovely to see you. Thank you. Tractor Nature's here. Dom's here. Morning. Connie's here. Still morning. I'm still in your time zone. Michelle, Dom. Connie says hi all. Michelle says howdy. Carol's here. Morning. Suzanne Shire's got her marigold hand out and giving us a wave. Charlotte's here. Hello. It's late for you. Anne Chopra's here. Hello from Canada. Alex is here. Hello, still in your time zone. Alex Kay's here, and Vicky's here. Hello, my lovely. I'm still here. I'm still on the Australian soil. On it from Australia. It's going back to early mornings again when I've left. Bethan's here. It's been very much of a Monday here. Okay. I'm getting back to you later. Laurie's here. All right, so let's just unpick this. Put those comments in, and if you've been pressured into doing anything with your horse's feet that's made you feel uncomfortable, that they've said, all we need to do is we just need to do this and it'll fix it all. It's like a magic fix. And I think that owners go for this because obviously the industry is still pushing it, right? And I get it. I totally get it. I understand that when your horse is sore and when they're struggling, equine, I mean a donkey too, and someone comes along with a quick solution. Our solutions aren't quick. We properly balance the horse's foot. I mean, for some horses, it's all they need. But for many who have gone through the majority, I have to tell you, that have gone through such shitty, unbalanced, irregularly balanced as well, hoof care for such a long time, whether they've had regular hoof care, that doesn't mean to say P3's been kept in the same position. That's been all over the place. And what we often see is tip forward, pitch forward on the fronts and NPAs on the back. It's very, very common. Imagine that. Imagine living with that for years and then being ridden. We see all of these things, and then somebody comes trotting along and sees it in an x-ray and goes, oh, well, this will fix it. What we say is just balance the foot to the natural parameters. It's easy. You don't have to guess how high the palmar angle is going to be. You don't have to guess anything. You just follow the horse's natural parameters, and then give it time. Give it time for that horse to repair all over, including in their mind. I'll be honest with you, the industry is full of options that sound very scientific and very innovative. Honestly, you can get on any page that's talking about hoof care. You can set them off on a topic, and you've got all these people talking large about what they think it needs to be, and angles and measurements and what the domestic horse needs compared to what the wild horses are telling us, etc. And I choose where I mean when I'm talking about horses that are talking about the feet that we're talking about in the Great Basin. But there are all of these things, and all of these people say stuff, but that's talking the talk. The reality is, when they're faced with the foot in front of them, all of that, all of that theory, all of that stuff they've been talking about goes completely out of the window. And then they begin messing with whatever's in front of them. It sounds very scientific and innovative, and these casting systems and rocker shoes and steward clogs and wedge pads and frog support systems and these high-tech synthetic shoes and inserts and remolding as if the foot needs prosthetics. All of those kind of things sound like, wow, gosh, my horse must be terrible that it's needing all of this. No, your horse is fine. It's could create and would be happily creating its own natural normal foot if people weren't messing with it. And when we go to do these quick fixes, we just continue the mess. The major flaw in almost all of them, is that they fail to address the long-term root cause, which is incorrect trimming, not to the horse's natural parameters. You can wang on about angles and lengths and palmar angles all day long and say that all horses need an angle at this angle and all horses need this. You can do that all day long and then just carry on incorrectly trimming your horse's foot or getting your horse's feet incorrectly trimmed. I cannot tell you how appalled I am at dorsopalmar balance inaccuracies. Imbalances in hoof care, we've been talking about a long time, but I can tell you it is rife. There are spots of the horse's feet touching the ground that shouldn't be when the horse puts his foot down. They're mediolaterally imbalanced. They're dorsopalmally imbalanced, i.e. heel to toe, because there's been this complete disregard of the hoof's natural parameters and their biological constants. And yet it's just there, right in front of you. It's not difficult. If the trim beneath, and this is something else to think about, if the trim beneath all of those gadgets, all of those wonder gadgets is wrong, then no external package is going to save the horse at all. And at best, these devices just kick the can down the road, like I've always said. And at worst, what they're really doing is creating new issues. And we're just constantly kicking that can down the road. And the real problem all the time when these horses end up to get to that situation, and when they've suffered from navicular, when they've suffered, which is all about the whole podotrochlear apparatus, the whole apparatus inside the foot, it's not the poor navicular bone. When they're suffering from negative palmar angles, when they're suffering from hyperpositive P3, all of that is a hoof care problem. We start getting side bone and ring bone and all of these issues and arthritic changes going up the body, all kinds of things, fused splints. All of these things all born out of imbalanced, incorrect hoof care that is not to the horse's natural parameters. And the most frustrating part for me and for all of us is that most owners have no clue that that's going on. And then when these quick fixes walk through the door, they hide what's really going on underneath. The heels are allowed to come up. We just allow these heels to come up, pat those heels, and let's just say, let these heels come up, creating a problem at the back of the foot. That frog is now not in the contact that it should be in. So you're creating a false frog contact. That frog is desperately trying to get down to the ground. You crush the digital cushion and you pitch the horse forward onto the toe. Well, that's okay, because I guess what we'll do, we'll just chop the toe off. So the toe pillars are then chopped off because it looks ugly. Removing that vertical depth every single time they do it. The vertical depth just keeps coming down and down and down. I'm sure you've seen on TikTok where, and it's usually TikTok, or I think that you can see them on Instagram, can't you? And sometimes on Facebook, where you've seen where shoes are being applied and the hard sole plane is completely disregarded. It's ignored. They go beyond the hard sole plane and they tell you they don't. Yes, they do. And they use their knife and they scoop around the front of the foot. And as they're cutting around the front of the foot, they put their thumbs in there just to have a little feel. And they keep cutting around the front of the foot so that they can bring that toe back. They want to keep bringing that toe back all the time, removing vertical depth. The vertical depth that horse desperately needs, but you've ignored. But it's okay, because then we're going to stick on some dim material. We're going to push that in there. We're going to stick on some pads, not maybe one, sometimes two and more. And then we're going to wedge up at the back. And then you know what we're going to do? We're going to cover up all of that pathology in a cast. And wow, that'll fix all of that long-term pathology that horse has been going through. And as for bars that are so desperately misunderstood, and the amount of abscesses that horses get walking around this earth, bless them, trying desperately to walk around this earth, they are rarely ever removed to where they need to be. They're always, when we pick horses' feet up, it's not just the bar that's left, but it's all that accreted bar material that's moved forward, that's mixed with sole, and the bar itself gets overgrown so badly it all pushes down, and you've got a massive amount of hoof wall, because that's what bar is made of, which is hard, and the horse is walking on that hoof wall right underneath their foot, in the bit that should be a bowl, in the bit that should be concave. Pain over hard ground, abscesses, bruising, Oh, it's okay. Let's stick some dim material in and some wedges and some pads and a shoe on, and you'll never notice it. Oh, it's still there. That incorrect, unnatural foot that's underneath all of that shoeing package, oh, that's still there. You haven't solved the problem. The amount of horses, and I'm not just talking about shoeing, I'm talking about just trimming in general, whether the shoe's put on or not. The amount of horses that we see with a ridiculous amount of bar material, and some of it you don't hardly see it. You can feel it, but you can't necessarily see it because it's so impacted into the sole. But that horse can damn well feel it. So now when we've done all of this and we've decided we're going to fix this foot and we're going to give it a quick fix, that horse is continuing to walk on a distorted hoof in a different way now. It's still a distorted hoof, but now we've changed it and it's now going to walk off in that way, in a different way on this different distorted hoof. So their posture is compromised again. And their hoof mechanism is just being shut down over and over and over. And then what happens next? Well, the horse might appear a bit sounder for a few weeks, but then gradually it can't be maintained because we've just kicked the can down the road and the lameness returns, or it moves to another limb. And now the horse needs a more complex shoe, or a different pad, or a different wedge, or a different supplement, another new magic fix. And round we go, all because we never addressed the basics, which was the trim in the first place. Okay, so let's get in there and have a little chat with you. Where? Alex said the vet wanted to take the toes back 1 centimeter. Is that? I don't know, but basically take the toe back. Yes, that's common all the time. That's just robotic. It's just a robotic response by people who, I have to tell you, rarely pick up a foot and trim them, rarely pick up a foot and understand balance. They talk about balance by looking at it from the top of the foot. It's not balance. It's not balance. The amount of shoeing that I see, the amount of horses that I see x-rayed, the amount of feet that I see after the x-ray that has been dealt with by professionals, and I see horrid unbalanced feet. Don't go picking up a foot and robotically say, just take the toe back. That's what it needs. That's a magic fix. Janine's here. Hi, says Janine. We Love Pets says, I wasn't pressured. I just showed up to the barn one day and found shoes and pads on my horse's feet. Oh my God. I've heard that so many times. When owners haven't been able to get to the barn, or they were stuck in traffic, but the farrier and the vet got there first, and turns up they've left, and you're left with a horse in a shoeing package you never even asked for, or they've chopped off the toes and the horse is crippled, and then they shove the shoe on, and then the horse looked like it was sound. It's shocking. It's shocking that what's going on out there, and that's your horse they've just done that to. Jenny says hello, and We Love Pets said, of course, I was pissed. Of course you were. Hello, says Susie. Jesse's here. Hello, Potty. Good morning. Yeah, I haven't had my coffee yet. You might see Timmy return through this door in a moment because he's going to give me a coffee. Jeanette says, when I bought my first boy who stayed on livery at the breeders, I arrived one day. Oh, my AirPod fell out. I arrived, it's because I'm a bit sweaty. It's falling out my ear. I'm sure you want to hear that. I arrived one day to find him. Can you still hear me? I hope you can still hear me. I arrived one day to find him shod on his fronts. Their employee wanted to try shoeing. I mean, what the hell? What the hell? But try shoeing. Don't you love that? I wanted to try. I'm going to try putting shoes on because I've been told that that's going to fix it. And my horse is great going in shoes. Do you take the shoes off? What's it like without shoes? And you can't cope without shoes. Oh, we've fixed it then. Nikki says, hello from Rico and me. It's a bright sunshine day today. Hello, Nikki. Keep on going, girl. We're with you all the way. Laurie says, hi, Nick and Rico. Gauzer says, stitching up an infected wound. Yeah, I like that. Do you know what? That's what they're doing. It's equivalent of doing something like that. Stitching up an already infected wound and then worrying why it's spreading and why it's getting worse and why the horse just isn't getting better. Oh, over and over. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen a horse, not too bad, could be fixed quite quickly. And I mean, I'm talking about quick fixes, could be fixed in a reasonably quick period of time by bringing the horse's hoof back into balance, not sticking anything on, not nailing anything on. And then that horse having the incorrect hoof care, and this is so common, and then that looked great for a while, and then it didn't start, and then things started going wrong again. And then we tried something else. And then a little bit later on, we tried something else. We tried something else. We tried something until this horse has gone through God knows how many different shoeing packages, trimming styles, you name it. And all the poor horse is looking at these humans going, for goodness sake, why don't you just follow my foot instead of what's in your head? Follow my foot. It's really easy. Oh, stitching up an infected wound. I like that. I was livid, said Jeanette. Hello, says Tara. Penny's here. Hi from New Zealand. Gail's here. Judy's here. Hello from El Paso, Wisconsin. We've got Gaia Daughter here. Patches the Mini has joined us. Amanda X has joined. Kahima Aswan has joined. And Carly's here. Hello, my darling. Gawsworth says, Bethan says, we see it all the time, don't we, Linz? We do. Something that starts out as a relatively easy fix, but the cascade of crap that happens until it becomes almost impossible. That's right. When we have horses coming in with P3 penetration, when we have horses coming in with P3 osteonecrosis, ski tips, all of those sorts of things, that's because of the cascade of rubbish that happened before they came in. And oftentimes when Bethan's got them and we're dealing with these horses, you've seen the pictures because Bethan's put them up. Those are meant to be fixes with the shoeing packages that they turn up with. And P3, oh, the foot looks fine to those who don't know. But to us, our eyes are popping out on stalks going, oh, God, here we go again. And when they x-ray it, P3's like this. And they go, well, it looks all right from the outside because you don't know what you're looking at. And you need to know. You need to know. And that's why we put these workshops on. That's why we've taught 60 odd people here. And all these people that came along, they're going to come back next time, some of them, because one of the things that we do with these workshops is once you've come to them once, and I don't think anybody else does this around the world when they do their workshops, but HM have done this for years. We've been doing this well over a decade, that when people come to our workshops, you can come again. All you have to do is pay for the legs and hope that there's a space. You can come back. That's it. You don't have to pay again except for your legs, which is 30 quid or $30, a tenner a leg. That's it. You can come back. Who else does that? We are people who are apparently taking people's money. No. And then for those people that can't get to our workshops and are worried that they can't meet us in person, we created the next best thing. We created challenges so that you can get on and understand about the diet and understand about the management and above all, understand about the trim. We are trying our best right now to raise awareness. That's why I came to Australia and New Zealand. I'm trying to raise awareness. And the people that turn up know that they have been going through that quick fix scenario for such a long time that when they leave, they know exactly what needs to be done. And you never need to mess ever again. All you need to do is follow that horse's natural parameters. Jeanette says you are horse angels. I don't know about that. I don't know whether I class myself as an angel, but this is what happens, right? This is our issue. So what is it that we really need to do? Instead of putting photographs of these horses in these contraptions saying, look, you see how I fixed it, and kicking the can down the road, what does the horse actually need? A simple, balanced trim. That's going to respect Mother Nature. It's going to respect the natural parameters of the foot. A hoof care approach, and this is something really radical here. I mean, this is really radical, but it's a hoof care approach that reads, shh, don't tell anybody, the anatomical constants. You know, those ones that were forgotten about in those peer-reviewed papers? Anatomical constants like the relative height of the heels, walls, and toe to the HSP, the pillars of support, the frog position. Those things that are anatomical constants throughout every single horse's foot on the planet. You then need time to allow the hoof to regenerate, the body to get better, the mind to get better. It's not pleasant when you're walking on crappy feet for years on end. It's painful, and it does stuff to your body, and it does stuff to your head. These horses have to recover. I tell you now, you don't just walk in one day from shitty, crappy hoof care that's been going on for years, do the correct trim, or stick on a shoeing package and go, bingo, we've solved it. It takes time. What I can tell you is with the correct trim, they start to get better and they never need to be messed around with ever again. But with the shoeing package, you're just kicking the can down the road and praying that the person who's putting that on is doing a better trim underneath. Are they taking the bars? Have they taken the toe? Have they let the heels come up? Have they wedged the heels? And you just kick the can down the road. So if the horse is sore at the start because they've had years of it. They've had years of it. It's not just been 5 minutes. They've had years of it. Then we can use hoof boots. You don't need any clever pads. You don't need any clever casts or any clever, lol. You don't need any of those things. You just need good old hoof boots with a non-wedged pad. Be careful, because some of those hoof boots you get have got wedged pads in them. Don't do that. That's going to offer comfort without altering that horse's mechanics. You're going to then be able to give that horse the opportunity to move naturally, to stimulate correct hoof mechanism, stimulate correct circulation, and strengthen that horse's foot. We're not saying don't support the horse. We're not saying don't give them painkillers at the start. We're not that mad. We're saying don't prop up dysfunction, folks. There's a difference. Don't keep propping up dysfunction. I put it on my post yesterday on the HM post, where we took a foot. We do this at every workshop. We trim one foot naturally, and then we allow the other foot to be, we trim it unnaturally. And this time, not only did we take the toe off, but we left a little pillar at 2 o'clock, and then we trimmed all the hoof walls off to the heel. Sounds familiar to some of people that will be listening to this? Oh yeah, that's a familiar thing that's happening right here in Australia, in New Zealand, and in all sorts of places all over the world, including the UK. We're seeing it there too. That's chasing pathology. And we are propping up dysfunction when we do things like that. And I put those pictures, that hoof, it's one hoof, and we then cut it in half, and we open it up and we show you what happens. And on an interesting observation by the people that were at the latest workshop, when we trimmed one side naturally, and in fact the other side we had pre-trimmed, but then we took the toe off as per what everybody says, and we took all the hoof wall off. We left that 2 o'clock pillar, which is incorrect. It's not what the horse's natural pillar is. And we left the heel, and we put the two halves together. And when I let go of the halves, the one that was trimmed naturally just stayed stock still. It didn't move. And they were cut down the middle. It didn't move. It didn't move. And that had its pillar at the back and a pillar at the toe. And the rest of it, we didn't go for relieving it. It was just naturally relieved. I hate that word, because it was trimmed down to the hard sole plane, not beyond the hard sole plane, to the hard sole plane. The other side that had had the toe removed, that had had the pillar brought back to the side, hello, right? Nobody understands the natural biomechanics of the horse's foot then. To the side, all the hoof wall was relieved so that there was more sole than wall. And then the heel not in the right position, pointed a little bit because that's a nice new fad. And that foot, when we put them down together, that foot wobbled and it went boop. This foot, you could touch it. It was stable. This foot, bloop, it just went bloop and wobbled. And when we opened them up, this one that had had its toe taken off, you could see how close P3 was to the ground and where there was no toe pillar. And on this one, you could see the toe pillar right there, protecting P3. It's shocking. It's shocking. And they want to shut us down. They want us to go away. They want us to stop telling the world how crap hoof care is. And it's awful. It's awful because it's what the human thinks the horse needs. It's not what the horse needs. I see people getting a rasp and giving a foot a little bit of a tickle on the outside, giving it a bit of a rub and going, oh, that helped the horn tubules. And then leaving the heels above the hard sole plane, underrun, leaving bar material, and then starting to take some toe. And these are the same people that get on the internet and bleat on constantly about hoof angles. And yet in that one moment of not touching the heels and taking the toe off, that foot pitched forward. And I don't care whether it's by a tiny amount or a big amount, it wasn't correct for that horse. You have just unbalanced the horse. But people who are watching don't have a clue. They just think, oh, that's nice. It's a massive problem. And until owners start becoming aware and owners start understanding the natural foot, we're never going to get rid of this problem. All we're doing all the time is patching up and patching over poor trimming with what we think sounds like good old fancy products. Let's get the trim right. Let's support the healing when necessary, and let's allow the hoof to become what nature designed it to be, a strong, responsive, adaptable structure. It does amazing things when you allow it to. The real danger of these quick fixes is that they're masking pain without solving the cause. They're encouraging people to avoid proper trimming. They're shutting down the hoof function. There's nothing like sticking a heart bar shoe on to shut down that hoof mechanism, especially when movement and sensation, that's going to restrict that. They delay real healing. They kick the can down the road, and they just, at best, allow that horse to just about cope, but at usual and at worst, they cause more pathology, and usually to other parts of the horse's feet and body as well. We've seen it, I can tell you, time and time again. Horses kept comfortable with wedge shoes or shoeing support packages, only to end up with collapsed heels, contracted frogs, atrophied frogs, rotated P3s that have penetrated, osteonecrosis where P3 has completely disappeared nearly, irreversible damage months or years down the line. And the heartbreaking part, many of those horses could have recovered with nothing more than a balanced natural trim, correct loading, gentle movement, and supportive booting when needed at the beginning. It's not flashy. Oh no, it's not flashy, but I can tell you it works every time. Unless that poor soul has got to the point where they have lost all their bone structure of P3 inside. It's deteriorated back to the terminal arch, or it's come through the bottom of the foot, not because it's sunk, because the hoof care scalped it. What we do isn't flashy, friends, and for some of you it looks ugly. But that long toe, we didn't put it there. All the people that chop the toes off, they put that long toe there. We're just showing you that it exists. So here's today's takeaway, my friends. Quick fixes don't fix anything. They cover up the real problem. The hoof health comes from correct trimming, correct, naturally balanced trimming. It respects the natural structures, the anatomical constants, and we trust the body to heal when given the right conditions. Think about the last time someone offered you a quick fix for your horse. Did it truly address the root cause or just the symptoms? Share it in the comments if you've experienced a moment where choosing the natural route, the natural route, which is potentially a slower route, but the right route to sustainable hoof health, paid off. Thank you, my friends. Thank you. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to go off with Asha and Tim today, and we're going to go and look at more wonderful animals. I know that it's tempting to want quick results. I know that it is, but the best results come from patience. They come from precision. And I mean precision. That horse's foot needs to be trimmed to precision, to their natural parameters. And it also takes a commitment, doesn't it, to doing what's right for the horse in the long term. So if you found today's session helpful, if you know somebody that's trying to go down that quick fix, ask them to watch this. Get them to watch some of the other videos too. Like, share, subscribe, follow, and remember, the Phoenix Way is about function over fixes. It's about function over ugly form. It's about function. So true healing doesn't come in a box or a shoe or a cast. It comes from understanding and applying nature's blueprint. Until next time, take care of yourself. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye.